Hey everyone, today we are making some doors for the IKEA Kallax. This is my first quote-unquote IKEA hack. It's not much of a hack so much as just building and putting doors onto it, but we use ours as a TV stand and I was really tired of looking at exposed wires and electronics, and it's sort of become kind of a catch-all for really anything, and it's a little bit ugly to look at. So we are going to make really simple cabinet doors. And here I'm measuring out a bunch of 1x3s. That's the only kind of wood I used for this frame. Each door consists of 4 pieces. 2 pieces are 24 inches. Those are the sides, and the top and bottoms are each 13.5 inches. So you will need 8 of both pieces to make 4 doors. Other than that, they are making a frame, and the middles are going to be burlap, like you saw in the picture. You can use any kind of fabric you want. I just like the look of burlap, and it's really affordable as opposed to like rattan, which is what I really wanted, but it's expensive. We're going to do black hinges, gold cabinet pulls, and we're going to try to stain it a similar color to my Kallax. I get there close enough. So anyway, here I'm just measuring out all of those pieces, using the ruler to hit the length, of course, and then using the speed square to create straight cut lines, which is pretty essential. And then here I have a bunch of cabinet pulls just in my garage from other projects. And so I have these extra silver ones from our bathroom, and I am just spray painting them gold. And I've done this before. It holds up well enough. I'm not going to be opening and closing these doors a lot like I would like actual kitchen cabinets. So I'm not too worried about the wear and tear, and worst comes to worst, you just repaint them. And here it is all painted and nice. My suggestion is spray paint the bottoms first and then flip it over so you can touch the unpainted sides, and then spray paint the tops and all the parts you see. And you'll be done in like 2 seconds. Now, after that, I decided to cut all of my pieces. Again, it's just a lot of straight, easy cuts. This is 1x3 wood, and I got 3 8-foot long pieces and 1 4-foot long piece. Just to kind of save on like car space, and of course the 4-foot pieces are a little bit cheaper than the 8-foot pieces. Again, it's just 1x3 regular pine, nothing too special. You can make these out of anything you wanted. But I was going for affordability because the Kallax itself is so cheap, and I mean, we're not going to have it forever, even though, to be fair, we've had it a long time. And so there's all my pieces. It looks like a lot, but it's really not too bad. You're going to want to sand everything down because you're going to have splinters from those cuts, and because it's kind of cheaper wood, it's just going to be a little bit splintery anyway. So you want to make sure to sand everything so you don't get a splinter when you're opening your doors. I would just make sure, your cuts are sanded off, and then the corners a little bit, and then a good sanding on the tops and bottoms that are going to be showing. But other than that, it's, really easy. I'm just using wood glue to hold the frame together before I screw them together with L hinges is what I used. You can see the shorter pieces are the tops and bottoms, and then the long sides go in between them. So these doors from top to bottom are about 30 inches tall. Be sure to measure your Kallax, but I'm sure they're all pretty much the exact same. And mine's 57 7/8 inches long by 31 inches tall. And so I wanted to make the doors a little bit shorter to make sure that I could actually close them with like a rug in the way, instead of making them from, top to floor, basically. Then to further stabilize these things, like I said, they're glued together and clamped. I'm also using these flat L brackets, as you can see, just to give them a little bit more stability and make sure they stay together over the long term. I'm putting them kind of in the middle of the boards. You can see I'm not putting them exactly on the edges or in the corners, because I wanted to make room for my hinges the cabinet pulls and the staples I'm going to use to attach the burlap to the back of these things. And here's a better look of like where I placed them. I think I would do this again. They kind of got in the way of the hinges when I put them on, but it ended up working out just fine. And I'll explain that later when we get there. Next is once all your doors are made, you're going to want to map out where your cabinet pulls or knobs or whatever you decide to use go, because you're going to want to drill those holes and sand them. So you want to do this before you start staining or painting. You only have got to measure out one door, and then you can use that door as a template for all the others, which is what I'm doing. I'm just drilling out the holes and then putting the door on top of the next one and drilling through the holes that are already there into the next door. And so it's a really, really quick process. Just make sure your cabinet pull is level if it has 2 holes. And then exactly where you want it, because it's kind of a bitch to fill wood and make it look good again. And then just sand off those holes, and any additional sanding you need to do it now, because you're not going to want to do it when it's sanded and painted. It'll look real bad. Here, yeah, just further sanding here. And then I'm also cleaning them off and then putting a little bit of sawdust in. There's a few gaps, just because the boards are what they are. Like, I don't have like a planer or anything to make these things like super level. I don't have the best workshop or fullest. And so I make like a little like sawdust wood filler, just to put into like gaps in my projects and stuff. And it comes out nice because it stains, because it's sawdust, right? Next is staining. So I tried to match our calyx. You can do whatever you want, of course, anything, any color under the sun. This stain, it's Minwax, and it's Jacobin, I think, Jacobin color, and so it's like super dark. It even ended up, as you can see in the picture before and you'll see at the end, it's even not as dark as the calyx, and I laid this on thick. So if you don't mind, then this is the color to go with. I think it looks great. We usually keep our room pretty dark anyway. You can't even tell. It doesn't matter. It still looks good, right? With stain, I'm just applying it with like a 2-inch clean brush, and then you let your stain sit for a few minutes, probably about 5 to 15, and then wipe off the excess. Otherwise it's going to be sticky. It'll like never dry right. And here they are all done. Well, the backs are all done. Anyway, and yay, oh, they look so good. And I still have to wipe them clean. That's why they're so shiny. And then here are the fronts. It's the exact same process. You just make it look nice, make sure it goes on even. It's pretty hard to mess it up. Wipe it clean after about 5 to 15 minutes. The longer you leave it on, the darker your stain color will be. Here, I'm putting on the hinges. And what I'm doing is I'm just lining up the tops of the hinges with the bottoms of those L brackets. You can kind of see, and you'll be able to see better later. It kind of ended up making a nice, like, an easy way to make them all even. And it was like a happy accident. My suggestion with these things, because it's, no matter how tiny the screw is, it's like hard to screw into wood, like no matter what. Have a drill with your, like a pre-drill bit on it, and drill into the holes, and then use another drill to drill in your screws, and it'll go 1,000 times faster. I didn't do it there, but I did it for the other 3 doors, and it sped up the process infinitely. With the burlap here, I'm just putting it over the edges, and then as you can see, stapling it down. I went down one side and then the bottom, and then for the other side and the top, I'm pulling it as like taut as I can, and stapling as I go. So like I pull really tight and then staple it down, pull really tight, staple it down. And all in all, this whole process here, it's sped up obviously, but it probably took me about 10-ish minutes per door. So it's not too long, but it gets a little monotonous, but you want to make sure it's tight. And that it'll actually stay on, and just like staple the hell out of it, but leave enough slack that you're not at the edges so it'll fray. And then here you can see it's all done. and I'm like tapping it because it's really, really tight and it's got a good bounce back. And so you want to look for that. Here, it's time to put the doors on, which is a lot of fun, and you're gonna need a second set of hands. We've got the first one, the far left one, on already, and we use that as a template for all the others. So I just close that first door. You decide where you want it, make sure it's level, mark your screw holes on your hinges. I used a silver Sharpie, pre-drill into those holes, and then screw the door on. Then for all the rest, all it was using the leveling it with the previous door that you know is level already, and then marking screw holes, pre-drilling, drilling the doors in. It's really fast, really painless. The screws go in really nice because IKEA furniture is just made with like plywood or MDF in there. So it's not even like real solid wood. So it's super, super simple. I mean, it drills like butter. And you just go all the way down, marking holes, drilling, and going. The little in-betweeny dividers on the calyx are about 5/8 inch thick, and that's just enough for the hinges to be screwed in and look nice. So you'll see the gaps there between the outermost doors and those two inner ones. See, that's where the hinges are. But there's a solid piece of calyx right there, so you can't see into the cabinet at all. It's all covered.